Today, I'm going to show you how to cut a Denver steak. It is hidden inside of this chuck roll. I'm going to show you how to cut it and then how to cook it. So let's get to it. It's getting close to lunchtime. I'm super hungry. Let's go. In the chuck, there are some secret cuts that are tender, flavorful, and super economical. We're talking $5 a pound. This is the Denver steak. For our project today, we're going to be using our 10-inch breaking knife, and I also am going to hit it with our sharpener, our Tumbler sharpener. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've seen me work with it before. It's the fastest and easiest way, I think, to sharpen your knives. All right, here we go. Fun fact, my audio went out when I made this clip, and so I'm going to have to do a voiceover. It's only the most important thing of the whole video, but we're going to carry on anyway. That's what we do. First thing you're going to do is take all the silver skin, extra fat off of the top and the bottom. That's going to make it so we can find the muscle groups a little easier. All right, you see this part where it looks like a little well-marbled strip steak? That is our Denver steak. We're going to have to take off the chuck eye roll so that we can get to our Denver steak. You're going to find where that seam is, and you're going to pull back slightly with your fingers and then cut a little bit with your knife just to help it along. Remember, this is where the Denver steak is, so you don't want to cut too much of the chuck roll. You want to cut right where the seams are so that you don't damage the Denver steak. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. We're growing very fast. I love making these videos, and I'm going to continue making these videos, and I want you to know when I upload another one. All right, now we pulled off our chuck roll. Now you can see where the Denver steak is going to be real clear. It looks like a little well-marbled strip steak right there. And we're going to take these wings off. So we're going to follow it right down the line where you can see that steak cross section. And we're going to cut each side right there. All right, so here we go. We're going to cut down those wings. And all that goes into the grinder. So nothing gets wasted on this chuck roll ever. And now you can see the steak kind of coming together. We're going to rotate this steak and then start to cut our steaks out of it. I like a 1 1/4 inch steak. It's a little thicker than what they do at the grocery store, so I really like that nice thick steak. We're gonna go ahead and continue slicing those steaks. Inch, 1 1/4 inch, however you like them. You can do it however thick you want. Once we get a couple in, you're gonna see the grain start to change. See how the grain goes more horizontal? That means we're getting to the end of our Denver steaks. At this point, the meat will start getting a lot tougher once that grain changes. So I'm going to cut one more, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like when it completely changes and that grain has gone to a completely different muscle group, and now it's not as tender as what we're looking for with this kind of marbling. So now we are done. The rest of it can be cut up into, for stew meat, it can be cut up, made a roast out of, all the different chuck preparations. You can grind it, all that stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the Denver steak. It is a relatively new cut of beef. I know what you're saying. How can you have a new cut of beef? In the past, the chuck has primarily been ground or made into chuck roasts. You see these all the time in the grocery store. But the thing about the chuck is there are some secret flavorful cuts hiding in there. We've done a chuck eye before on this channel. This is a Denver steak. This is where your flat iron comes from, your terrace majors. All these are tender-ish cuts of meat and flavorful cuts of meat that can be sold as a steak instead of being ground up and put in roast. A lot of beef sales is marketing. We got to find a new way to get the same customer to buy something different. This is how the Denver steak was born. We're going to go now and I'm going to show you how to reverse sear this piece of meat. Now, reverse searing process is very simple. Usually when you cook a steak, you sear it and then you put it in the oven to finish. The reverse sear method is in reverse. So you cook it first, so the internal temperature is close to where you want it, and then you sear it afterward. So I'm going to show you that process. I am taking this process outside where there are no smoke detectors and there are no chances of my smoke detector going off. So I'm going to show you this method using a couple new toys I got in my backyard. First, we're just going to do our normal steak preparation. Today I'm going to use a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning. I really like this one. Really gives a great flavor. And then we're going to head out to the grill for the first part of our reverse sear method. Here are a couple of tips about reverse searing. So again, we're going to put it on my smoker first, and then I'm going to let the steak cook until it hits about 110. You want to pull it about 10 degrees, 15 degrees before it's done. Again, like I said, we're gonna cook the inside first and then sear the outside. With this Denver steak, I would be careful. If you're gonna go to medium well, it's gonna get a little tough. So I suggest that it's medium or under to get the best steak experience from this cut of meat. So here we go, a little bit of oil down. That's what we want to hear, hard sear. So here we go. Boom, our reverse seared Denver steak. We're gonna go take it back inside and let it rest. So what I like to do while it's resting is put it back on my board. I like to take a little bit of butter and just let the residual heat just melt these slices of butter. So it's been about 5 minutes. I've rested that steak. You can see the butter is completely melted in and the juices, it's all gonna mix together. It's gonna be delicious. I can't wait. So we're just gonna go ahead and slice right down the middle. Check out. Pretty good little medium rare. The reverse sear method allows you to get a little bit of smoke on there and then get a hard sear on the griddle. And I did it all outside and I did not set off the smoke detector once. Let's go. So let's slice this up and we'll give it a try. So we've sliced up our Denver steak. It's sitting in a pool of little melted butter and the juices that are leaking out of here. I'm just can't wait to try this. So let's give a nice slice in the middle. This steak is so good. As long as you slice it really thin, keep it at medium or less, this is a great way to get a super cheap but super tender piece of meat. Next, I'm gonna show you how to cut a chuck eye steak from that big chuck roll that we started with. It's like eating a delicious ribeye, but it's only $5 a pound. That video's next. Check it out.